Taking the internet by storm with an amazing transformation, folks. It may be time to buy that Jam Miller stock. Stick around. Let's talk about it. This is Way Offsides. 3, 2, let's go. Hey, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever the case may be. Welcome to Way Offsides. Here with you to talk some Alabama football before we get started. Go ahead and leave a big roll tide down in the comment section below. I'm going to make this a quick video. We got another one coming out later. They're both going to be quick. First and foremost, just want to let our fans know, because I've been getting some DMs. Yeah, I'm okay. I've got some health stuff going on, but we're rocking with it. So doing the right things, taking care of ourselves, doing what we need to do to get better. So no worries on my end. What you need to worry about is the fact that we are 17 days away from Alabama football at the time of me recording this, and the hype is just growing. Since Alabama's named their starter, it seems like everything is just exponentially growing in terms of expectation for Alabama, and not just with the quarterback position. I've done a couple videos discussing Ty Simpson and how him being a more consistent passer will open up the run game. A lot of folks in the past few years have been unhappy with Alabama's run game. Jam Miller, amongst some fans in the Alabama fan base, does get some hate for whatever reason. And I think that we are looking at a time and place where we can finally confidently go ahead and start buying stock in Jam Miller and what he's going to bring to the table in 2025. Before we get there, please, while you're down there leaving a comment, please like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, do all the things. You do that, we can bring you more content, give you more of our opinions. Obviously, fall recruiting is about to get started as the season starts, so there'll be a lot to talk about there. I do think that Alabama is in play for some flips, so you're not going to miss that. So hit the notification bell. You may have to go into your phone settings if you're on an iPhone and turn them on there. Super simple, takes a couple seconds. I could put it up on the screen. That's a lot of work. Google it. So anyway, Jam Miller last season underperformed, according to most Alabama fans. The senior running back out of Tyler, Texas, had 145 carries for 668 yards, 7 touchdowns, averaging just under 5 yards a carry. Miller was the leading rusher on the team, but you have to also think that there were a ton of balls that were rushed by Jalen Milroe that probably could have gone to Jam Miller. Now, the positive things I saw out of Jam Miller last year is Alabama started to use him more as a weapon out of the backfield. Specifically, they've been trying to do it for a couple of years. Jalen Milroe missed Jam twice on a wheel route a couple of years ago when Texas came to Tuscaloosa. And those two plays, I'm convinced, were the difference in that game. He hit the same route on the other side of the field to Jam Miller in the Georgia game, and it was a beautiful touchdown pass. But Miller really wasn't getting the push that folks were expecting him to get. As Alabama's identity, it traditionally is run the ball first and do it aggressively and with authority. Folks just haven't been that hype about Jam Miller and his ability to do so. Now, I think there's a couple things at play here. I think last year, Jam Miller was a victim of defensive coordinators understanding that Milroe was an inconsistent passer, so they just stacked the box. And it was very easy for them to stop the run. Alabama had to get creative in ways that they were going to move the ball, especially on first down. We saw Miller kind of get stuffed at the line of scrimmage a lot, and that was why. And this doesn't take away anything from him being a big play guy whatsoever. If you look back at the running backs, everybody who played last year, this was a common thing. Justice Haynes did not get a chance to pop like we thought he would, because this is what defensive coordinators were doing, because they knew that Alabama was going to struggle through the air. So they were kind of up against a wall to start with. And I don't foresee that being the issue this year, assuming, this is a big assumption, that Alabama's new starting quarterback, Ty Simpson, can distribute the ball through the air. That's going to force defensive coordinators to back some of those guys off of that line of scrimmage and not be so hard-nosed to stop the run. Now, everybody's still going to want to stop the run first. This is why I keep saying it's so important for Alabama to go into FSU and dominate in the trenches and set a standard for the rest of the season. That's going to allow Ty Simpson to open it up through the air. However, in terms of the run game, I think that, folks, once Bama starts whipping it around to this talented group of wide receivers, it's going to open some things up on the ground for guys like Jim Miller, who obviously will be running back number one. And if you guys haven't seen over on X, go follow me there at @AlaFriggin Bama. Jim Miller, I don't know what he's been doing in the offseason. This guy has put on some poundage, some serious muscle. So much so that he's got defensive linemen at Alabama talking to him. Listen to Tim Keenan here via Charlie Potter.
You better have your feet in the ground and you better have your technique, because he gonna make it look stupid. You know, he get up out that gap and get up out that hole so fast. He's so athletic. So it's always good competition when you're going to get.
Yeah, he is athletic. That's the thing about Jam Miller, is I don't think he really got the opportunity to shine last year. I think fans are a little bit too hard on running backs. I know I was really hard on Bo Scarborough because he had the tendency to get touched at the line of scrimmage and kind of just fall forward, not really move laterally, break tackles. And a lot of people felt like Jam did a little bit too much dancing in the backfield last year, trying to find holes and gaps. But a lot of that was because, honestly, there were none. The offensive line did not do him any favors last season. We saw it for a while. They got better as the season went on, and Bama was able to run a little bit. But still, you had the quarterback problem where defensive coordinators could just stack the box, stop the run, and force you to beat them through the air. And Bama, in some games, couldn't do that, i.e. Oklahoma. So I think a much better offensive line in 2025, a much more cohesive offensive line, especially on that left side, as well as a quarterback who can maybe be a little more consistent through the air with this really talented group of wide receivers. I think that opens things up for Jam Miller to have a big season. Now, in terms of other running backs, Alabama, we all know their depth chart at the running back position is absolutely bonkers. It is insane. They are one of the deepest, probably the deepest at the running back position in the country. Now, there's been some speculation here because a lot of folks automatically think that Richard Young is going to be number 2 behind Jam Miller. I do too. I think that's the case. But I also think that a guy that some folks in the industry are really high on, Dre Washington, Clint Lamb is really high on Dre. Watch him. And I would not be surprised to see Daniel Hill to get in there a little bit, maybe not too much. And then there's always the potential of AK Deer. It was a surprise to me when Jam Miller came back. I think that was a very big deal for him to come back, especially in the leadership department in that room, because Alabama's running back room is very, very young, but extremely talented. So for me, I think it's Jam Miller at number 1, Richard Young number 2. He's a physical specimen in himself. So you've got these 2 literal hosses playing running back for you. You've got 3 young guys who are all capable guys. Obviously, AK Deer, Daniel Hill, big time recruits. Dre Washington, maybe not as big of a recruit as those guys, but if you go and watch his skill set, he fits the mold. And so I think Alabama in general, not just Jam Miller, is going to be able to run the ball efficient. And don't forget that Washington, Kalen DeBoer and Ryan Grubb had a 1,000-yard rusher there. This isn't something, it's not like they just don't run the ball. It's not like Alabama's just going to be a pass-first offense. They're going to still run the ball. They're still, especially with a guy like Ty Simpson, who they can roll out. Ty's got wheels. So they're still going to do what they can to set up that play action, roll him out on a bootleg, things like that. So I really am starting to buy into the narrative because it's not just coaches or players, it's coaches too that are really, really excited about what Jam Miller brings to the table. And then you look at the guy. We'll put the thumbnail up one more time so you can take one more look. But you look at the mass that he has put on in this offseason, and it's hard not to be excited about Jam Miller. So tell me in the comments below, who do you think is going to be running back number 2 behind Miller? What's your expectation? What do you think the limitations are for Alabama's run game in 2025? As always, thanks for sticking around with me. Absolutely love each and every one of you. Thanks for your prayers. Say your prayers, read your Bibles, wash your hands, horns down, beat Auburn and LSU and Tennessee too. Roll Tide.